Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening, replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the Vault, episode 535. My Trust. Definitely look forward to doing this episode today. We're going to go ahead and get started. So, this is one of those episodes where we got it for years now. We've been getting it for years now. We're going to continuously talk about it because until it stops coming up in the meetings, which it may never stop, it's just one of those things where we have people that come into the sector that they're coming at it from a very personal standpoint. We do sit in rooms with people that are managing $1 billion. They are doing it through trusteeship. Even if we're sitting in a room with fellows, these individuals are trustees and they're managing endowments. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about my trust, this is one of those subject matters that just needs to be addressed head on. Because here we go. When we're in the environment of private, there is no my. In the public, it's a my. And that's what you hear. And the private is not a my. In the public, it's a my. It's lie. What they call it, living in the public, revocable in the public. Think about it. Somebody will come to the lawyer and they'll say, "Hey, I need you to set up an irrevocable trust. Is it still yours? Oh, I'm still a trustee. So how'd you give it away irrevocably?" So whether it's a discrepancy in knowledge, whether it's a discrepancy in execution, this is where we get on the line and they say, "Oh man, trust Christian in the vault. We'll make sure training is so different. We'll make sure training is so special." It's because we train our trustees to think that it's business. Family is business, not personal. In turn, by that being the case, the families don't think of it as my trust. So they don't speak and say my family trust. Or they don't say my business this. They don't say any of those things. They don't. They speak in terms of it's business, not personal. They don't own the trust. They don't own the business. That's it. They don't own the business. I was thinking about actually went out the other day and was sitting there with some entrepreneurs, and this guy says, "Oh yeah, uh, I got a few different separate LLCs, and then I run everything from my personal through an escort." Like, just thought of like the dumbest moment ever, and you say, "Oh man, how is it dumb?" Because, ladies and gentlemen, he said, "I'm avoiding double taxation." How are you avoiding double taxation when you're going through an escort? You think your personal is cheaper than the corporate? But that just shows you the limited knowledge base that they don't know how to do things not personal. That just shows that individuals, that's what they're focused on, business. And I mean, focused on personal. They're not focused on business because if they're focused on business, there's a clear separation and distinction in assets. Clearly. Just like if you have one property, just like the individual had, oh, I have multiple LLCs, right? So what are you talking about? Why would you need to take a salary? Oh, but I'm avoiding double taxation by going escort status. So this isn't legal advice or financial advice. It's just we're having this conversation because we get on the line. Even the other day, we're sitting around some individuals and they're like, "Oh, I got my family trust established. I got my statutory trust established." We'll repeat that again. I got my family trust established. I got my statutory trust established. They didn't say much about charity though. See, we're playing the game of commerce. We see people now saying, "Oh, we finally have cracked the code on what it is." It seems as though some people think that business or money is a dirty thing, negatively, unfortunately. And they want to be free for free. And ladies and gentlemen, we've said it on our podcast for a long time. Clean air is not free. So freedom is not free. Economic freedom is not a free, everybody dispose of thing. Why? Because if that was the case, we would all be in communism. That means all of us would be doing the same thing as far as lifestyle. When you don't live in that environment, it's a business environment. It's not a socialist environment. It's a very capital oriented work, don't work environment. It's not based off of the society, it's based off of the individual. That's where people get it twisted. You want the individual freedom to do and create. Now have somebody tell you, oh, well, you're not going to do that. And that's that. That's what goes on in some countries. So shout out to the United States for having such a great country to be able to do that in many other countries around the world. But when you say my trust, what about it? My statutory, my family, my business. I have this, I got that. It's always a possessive in the public. But when it comes to the private, what possession is there? Is possession in the public. Where's the possession in the private? My trust. They come on the line. They say, oh, I wrote my own trust. Ladies and gentlemen, they say they write their own trust. So it's not irrevocable, right? Right, it's revocable. You might not want to say that to us, but it is. What other elements are to it? People don't know the elements. We could take them to the forms. We could say, okay, if it doesn't align with this, how's somebody gonna be able to fill this out if they don't? What makes you think they're gonna have to fill it out? Right. What makes you think they're gonna have to fill it out? Because when you're saying me and my, why not? Even when somebody says you're the owner or something, do you correct them? That's the difference. Are you the owner? Are you the beneficial owner? Are you the grantor owner? Or are you the trustee? Because there is no trustee owner. The trustee doesn't own anything. The assets are owned by what? Right. The entity. Definitely look forward to hearing more feedback about this particular subject because this is one of those things that we get all the time that people reach out to the vault or people say things on the line and I'm just like, okay, well, you say you want to go private. Think about how many trustees, if you listen to this, think about this. Do you still talk this way? Oh man, my trust. I don't know how to say a trust Christian in the vault. What do you say? My company. Yeah, it's not your company anymore. It's just a company. We've been trained into this world that you can own something. How can you own it if you didn't create it? Did you create the trust? Yeah, I created my trust. Right. That's all you gotta do is ask them. See, this is a conscious lifestyle. This is a conscious decision to go private. Oh no, I just want it to be a little easy because I don't really like being in the public. I don't really like them hitting me with the additional fees of being in the public and not having my affairs in order. What they say? Oh, what's the first way to become what independent? What you want to be sovereign? Oh, I gotta authenticate my birth certificate and put it inside the trust. I'm capturing the government trust. You trying to capture the government trust. Then we just get him on the line. We ask him a few questions because we are sophisticated with it. So we asked him, who created it? Oh, okay. Okay, that might be a little bit different right there. Right, who created it? What jurisdiction is it in? Where did it start? Who the beneficiaries? Well, my children are beneficiary. Not over at the vault, but with you, most people are. Or make my children a beneficiary. That's not what we do. That's the difference, ladies and gentlemen. Knowing the difference between a trustee and somebody that's out here just playing with it. I want to go private. They say they want to go private. Then when it's time to make that transition comes with a vocal conversation transition, not just a transition of I want to be there because the paperwork. Oh, they say the paperwork. They say the paperwork. My trust. So if it's your trust, that means you own it, right? So you never gave a true separation. What's the benefit of having one of those anyways? Right. Well, we're here to tell you there's so many of them that it just depends on your situation. Of course it does. We all recommend people go to the authorities website and go look at what they say about these things. We'll put the link in the chat for you so you can go and look at what they say about abusive trust. Here we go. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Can everybody hit the like and the subscribe button? And there we go. We're gonna go ahead and put out some of the background. Yeah, we're gonna put that right in the chat. Self-employed schemes. Put it right in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Like people think, oh man, Trust Christian Evolve. I wonder where where do they go? What do they do with it? We make it a point to do exactly what we're supposed to be doing with it. We're looking at engaged trustees and people that understand that it's a lifestyle. You're gonna come over here. You're gonna start doing what you're supposed to be doing. You know, oh, I want to manage my family estate, and then they say, oh, I want to manage it. You're not gonna manage it. You're not gonna manage it. Then and most people they as one it makes you wonder, are you actually um are you gonna put the time in? People say, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna put the time in right now. That's a lot of the times what we hear is, are you gonna put the time in? Are you gonna put the time in? And when it comes to studying, yeah, you gotta study. You gotta. It's, oh man, what do you mean study? Like, you gotta study, ladies and gentlemen, a few hours a day. We got families that some people read once a week, one thing. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, just put in the study time. It's just one of those things. If you're not gonna put in the study time to trustee training, how's somebody ever gonna say that they want to learn something if they're not putting the time to learn it? That's what it comes down to. So we definitely look forward to having a continuous conversation with trustees privately. Feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. And definitely looking forward to connecting with you, connecting with all of you all. And don't be fooled by these individuals on the internet just saying my stuff. When they say my stuff, that means that they're not private. That's what that means. Or they'll tell you to get yours. That's how they talk to you. We don't talk to people that way at the vault. We don't talk that way. It comes down to the beneficiaries. Who's the beneficiary? Like, these are things that, oh man, what happens? See, it makes you wonder: are you in it for to do something, to manage something, or are you just looking to get something free? Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put my birth certificate inside of my trust, right? So you're gonna put your birth certificate inside of your trust. And there's another thing that we would hear: well, if you're gonna put your birth certificate inside of a trust, what is that gonna do for you? These are the questions that we would ask trust people that come on the line. What are you gonna do with that? Well, I'm gonna get this, that, and the third. They took out a debt on it. Just there's a long, elaborate story. One thing we know, two things for certain. There's certain people that don't even get involved with this type of stuff. Why? Because they're in it truly what we're talking about, and they don't manage it. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening, and replay. Always feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. My trust. This is one of those topics that a lot of people reach out about, and we have the training to address it. It's not one of those things you can just sit around and keep saying it. Especially if you say my people say I have a trust and they still don't even know how to manage it. So how you gonna say you have a trust, my trust, and I know how to manage it? That's why we have Trustee Training. Appreciate you for reaching out. Christian at trustchristian.com is the email you can reach out to. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace and joy.